Good afternoon. My name is Michael from Back to the Future Trading. We are the weirdos over at backtothefuturetrading.com. And as you can tell from the giant font, we specialize in something few people dare to even approach: predictive trade timing signals. We have this ludicrous idea that you can actually tell in advance when things are about to occur in the market, because we believe that large institutions, I can't say specifically who, there are large banks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank and others who are constantly and continually fined for manipulating markets, equities markets, futures markets, and so on. If they are cheating, if they are making big moves, if everyone's experiences are the same, good news comes out, the market drops, bad news comes out, the market goes up, then maybe we should follow when they do their dirty deeds. And so every week we come together in light of a very fascinating experiment that we've been conducting now for the past 16 years, quite a long time. And I can tell you with a near perfect Trustpilot rating that if you're going to start a business and tell traders when markets are going up and down in the future, if you make it past 90 days, you might have something. And we've been doing this for close to 2 decades now. There's a really interesting concept here that we're about to look at using an experiment that everyone in the room is now a part of. And in essence, what I wanted you to see, we're looking for an answer to this question. Are banks planning their moves out days, hours, minutes into the future? And so one of the examples I've been giving lately that's been very helpful for people is the following. I want you to imagine Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Imagine we're trading, I don't know, oil futures. And at 9 o'clock, when oil futures opens, at exactly 9 o'clock, the market puts higher and higher and higher candles until 10 o'clock, and then it falls straight down. The 10 o'clock candle closes, it falls straight down. The 9 o'clock candle closes and it goes straight up. I want you to imagine that it did that 4 days in a row. And you're a crude trader. You've seen this now, you've watched for years, and you notice there's this unusual pattern in time. 9 o'clock Tuesday, it goes straight up. 9 o'clock Wednesday, it goes straight up. 9 o'clock Thursday, it goes straight up. Is it outside of the realm of possibility now that at 9 o'clock on Friday, we place a buy order with maybe, I don't know, a $200 stop loss, and see that if it's going to do this and this again? Would that be outside the realm of thinking if you could see it happening every day in front of you? And that's really what the question is here today. Because I can tell you it doesn't happen 100% of the time. It doesn't happen often enough where we can see it or take notice of it. But an algorithm can see it. A program can see it. And today I'm going to show you two, one for TradingView called Kronos, and one for NinjaTrader called Time Warp. And we'll see here about 60 to 70% of the time, when we're watching for the patterns in the past, we can project them forward in the future and wait and see if those moves are likely going to happen. Now, I just want to tell you that this is a dangerous question to ask, because many of you are married to a system that you had before you found this. Many of you are committed till death do us part. Some of you are more committed to the garbage you bought before today than your spouse and friends. I have gone toe to toe with people who have told me at the beginning of a conversation, Michael, I've spent $100,000 on useless tools and indicators and gurus and weekends with finger sandwiches. And then I show them back to back to back to back winners using predictive time signals, and they walk away. In essence, telling me better to dance with the devil that you know than the devil that you don't know. And so I want to ask everyone to sort of just calm their assumptions down. You assume something is the way it is because somebody told you to, or you just picked it up somewhere. I want us to assume for a second that this is possible. And we'll see in a moment, it's not only possible, it's probable. What we do to prove this is the following. Internally, my general manager, Rachel, loads images into our website with a digital signature. For example, today, on Thursday, the E-mini S&P and the NASDAQ signals, the two most popularly requested demonstration instruments, I had predictive times for them since 3 days ago. And again, I want you to just see this. This image was created 3 days in the past. I'm going to zoom in and just kind of shove it in our mutual faces. 3 days ago, this information was available, telling us what was likely to happen today, Thursday. And all of these times are in Eastern time. I don't know if it's daylight savings anymore, or Costco savings, or Doge savings, whatever it is anymore. I was promised no more daylight savings time, and here we are. Everything I wanted, I didn't get. Everything I didn't want, I got. Welcome to 2024, 2025. So what are these times telling us? What is this 3-day-old chart you have here, Michael? How does this affect the price of rice in China, which, by the way, costs 200% more as of yesterday? Everywhere you see a blue line, since Monday, Tuesday, has been warning us that there's a very high likelihood that the E-mini S&P would put in selling pressure at 520 today. There was a warning about 315, demonstrating a potential repetition of that higher than average, higher than not likelihood the S&P E-mini would fall at 315 on a 5-minute chart. And we can do this on any time frame. 15-second, 30-second, 1 minute, 3-minute, 5-minute, hourly, daily, weekly, in fact. We'll take a look at those charts in a moment. Yo, Earl. It warned us about a move at 8:15, 10:55, and 12:25. And then consequently, all of these times on the bottom were targets. We got a hit. When the software went back and looked in the past, it found that 305, 415, 655, and 940 were important times. This is how we prove that what we believe is real. This isn't some Scientology convention where you read a poster on a wall that Tom Cruise is standing in the middle of and you think, well, I'll give it a shot. This is proof, or at least I hope it is. These are the times that we were just talking about. And if you want, go back and pause the video. It'll be on YouTube later tonight or tomorrow, and compare what I just showed you to what's on my screen right now. And I want you to look at me at the following. Up at 415, down at 520. up at 6:55. Remember, these times have been here since 3 days ago. Down at 8:15. 9:40, come back with me to that in a minute. 10:55, come back with me to that in a minute. Up at 12:05, down at 12:25, up at 2 o'clock, and now down at 3:40. So looking at the majority of the signals so far, with the exception of 2 of them, 3 of them, let's just count this one out of the loop right now. Womp womp, 2 o'clock did not go up. We're looking pretty good. Yeah, hey Damien, I'm going to show those yesterday. What time frame did you look on the ES? 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute? Yeah, cool. We'll take a look at that. I was going to for sure. We'll do it right after this explanation. We'll look right at the TradingView version, Kronos, next. In fact, let me put my money where my mouth is here. Let's get that up here real quick. That's what she said. And where is that? I lost my chart. There it is. That's the 1 minute. Damien, you messed me up. I had a whole groove going. I had these people eating out of the palm of my hand. Ah, that's funny. That's hysterical, actually. ES 5 minute. Yep, for sure. And let me just check one thing to see if it's working yet. Yep, there's a 1 minute chart on the ES. Okay. So, no, that's not it. There we go. So I want to tell you a little bit about 9:40 and 10:55, if that's okay. In your GoToWebinar panel, can you guys see? No, you're fine. Thank you, actually. Can you guys see where it says handouts? Do you still have that option, George, Jack? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to click on the handout real quick. And I want to go over something with you, just to explain what happened at 9:40 and the other signal. And this book has been around. I've been using it in my webinars since 2017, about 8 years ago. And if you wouldn't mind, scroll with me down to page 27. And here's what I want you to see. Remember, these times are 3 days old. We started to notice about 7 years into our program that there were times, Damien, where the market went in the exact opposite direction. If it was a buy signal, it fell like a rock. If it was a sell signal, it shot up like a rocket. And we saw hundreds, if not thousands, of these signals before we made a mechanical, discretion-free connection. Many of you were around at that point. I know Earl was here around there. Waziz, you were around there. Bala, you were on board just after that. Chris, you came in when we had pattern 4s and 5s. And here's what we notice. If there's a prior swing high and you're coming into a time that was supposed to be a buying time, Damien, if that signal candle, the one to the right or the left, if either one of these 3 candles are higher highs in relation to this structure, the market tends to reverse and go down. So over here, I want you to see the prior swing high was obviously 8:15. We could make an argument for this little chimichanga right here too. But at 9:40, remember there's a 3 candle sequence. Candle number 1 broke that high. and matches a pattern that we drew 8 years ago. And so this morning at 9:40 in my live trading room, we took a short. And a lot of you held it way longer than I did. So I put a number 5 on top of that candle. Now, there's one other place something weird happened today. And if you scroll up in your book, we're going to go to page 22. And on page 22, if I scoot this over ever so slightly, can you see 10:55? At 10:55, we have the antithesis, the exact opposite of what we saw happen at 9:40. In fact, many of these signals will occur back to back like this. They occur during very volatile market movements like the one we saw today. They're unusual, but about 20% of the time they pop up. So at 10:55, if we break through a prior swing low, usually with a panic move, you see, Damien, how I drew this really big candle right here? And we see something very similar here. This is a panic moment. I used to call this a waterfall. When I was younger and naive and egotistical, I wanted to give things Japanese candlesticky names. And I was going to call this the red waterfall pattern. And now it's a pattern 4. Fun fact, if you draw like this, it looks like a pattern 4 upside down. If you draw it this way, it actually looks like a number 4. Fun fact. Yeah, it's a capitulation move, exactly. So at 10:55, the market does what the book 8 years ago warned us might happen. It reverses and goes in the other direction. So all these other ones are just kind of hanging out there. So if we apply a very mechanical rule set to this, 9:40 went down and 10:55 went up. 15:40 went down, and I'll tell you why I took this short. And this is a technique that I've been teaching for a while now. When we got to this buy signal right here, Earl, do you see how it really didn't move up at all? From the close of this candle, Damien, all we did was kind of fall down and come back to it, fall down and come back to it. It's behaving like a drowning person. It's bobbing up and down. It's not getting out of the water into the boat. And it's crossing over this white line. And when I saw the failure of the buy signal with trend, and it went through its own stop, many of you know we call this a puncture setup, I looked for a short. And then I waited to see if they were going to drive down even further at 3:40, because the next signal doesn't get here until 7:40 tonight. That's right. When you use our software, you can see when the next signal is coming. So if I'm long at 10:55, if I try to buy the bottom, I can hold it until 12:25 and then reverse. If I'm short at 9:40, I can hold it until the next time. If I'm short at 8:15, I have a reason to stay in the move. Okay? Any questions about time? Because here's the thing, and I do this every week, it blows my mind. Here are the times for tomorrow. They're here. This is where we get them from when we post them in advance. These are the times for tomorrow. Not because of some black box algorithm, not because of my guru intuition, heaven forbid. I think we should ban the word guru. We should call it the G word. He said the G word, mommy. Now, if I scrunch up my screen, look, I have Friday, I have Monday, I have Tuesday, I have Wednesday and Thursday of next week. All of these times, 8:25, right? 23, 27, all of these times, 6:45, April 11th, is a potential sell signal. These times do not repaint, they don't disappear, they don't reappear, they don't come 5 bars later. The times are the times are the times. And they only exist because that's what the banks have been doing lately. They only exist because this is what the banks are getting caught doing. Not 100% of the time, closer to 60 or 70% of the time. So we can know those times in advance. Well, how's that going to help? Well, our customers are pretty vocal about it. Number one, they say, I trade less. I see how many times I have to trade in the morning, and that's what I trade. Number two, most popular answer on the board, my stops are smaller because the trade either works now or it doesn't. Number three, I let my winners run. There is an expiration date on every trade. Number four, let's see if I can do it. I'm relaxed and proactive versus constantly reacting. And the subcategory of that is I spend less time at my computer. This is what everyone says. Show the point, because I would be giving that away. Omar, I just showed it. Here are the times. The reality is that no one cares. The people who aren't going to buy this software, after everything I just showed them, they're not paying attention to any of this right now. I'm a little bit cynical because I do this every week, and then the very next day, Omar, I've had 100% of these signals work. And the phone doesn't ring, no Skype calls, nothing on the WhatsApp. The people who don't believe this is real, even after what I've shown them here, the people who don't believe this is real won't care what I show them. Kind of like the turtle traders. They could print the rules on the front page of the Wall Street Journal and no one would follow the rules. Yeah. The signal yesterday was down from 335 until 605, which to me is absolutely hilarious. If we go out and look at a daily chart, I'm going to change my settings to the daily settings for the ES, just so I'm consistent week to week. You guys know what that is, 1, 2, 3, 5. The time frame doesn't matter. Earl, you remember, guys, we talked about this long time ago. This was our drowning swimmer right here. We saw it. On February 24th, I told all you guys, hey, there's no buyers on the 24th. Still not here, still floundering. Uh-oh, big move down coming March 6th. The next move down on the daily chart was March 24th. Until when? April 9th. April 9th. Right? Now, the farthest out I've been able to go is a weekly chart. And for the weekly chart, I use the same settings as everything else. Earl, can you see what happened on the weekly chart? No buyers. No buyers. Right here. No bueno, no me gusto. Right here's the drowning swimmer. And then, ugh. There was the high on the weekly chart. And we can do this with different markets. We can look at SPY. We can look at gold. And you'll see the same thing over and over again. We can see in the future with reasonable certainty when moves are coming. What's expected for gold between Friday, March 21st and Friday, the week of Friday, July 11th? And now on the daily chart for gold, which has been an ATM machine, trend isn't over yet. They blew right through the stop line of the sellers on March 21st. And I told a lot of you, get long when we go above 31.49. That's a puncture trade. Next train leaves the station April 4th. Okay. Coincidentally, while we're on the subject, this is the chart for gold futures. Imagine there was somebody online who was able to tell people 3 days ago what the price of gold was going to do at certain times. Imagine we knew in advance about 7:30, 8:25, 9:35, and 11:15 3 days ago for today. Oh wait, we did. We did. I've been showing the daily signals on gold for months, and many of you made a lot of money because of it. People came up to me after the webinar and said, Michael, I put an option trade on gold. I'm long. Right at the day that you told us to watch, it started going straight up. What did the program tell us to look for 3 days ago in gold futures? Down at 7 a.m., 7:30. Earl, do you see the drowning swimmer right here? What does that tell us about 8:25? George, what does that tell us about 8:25? Help! Flush the toilet. Oh! What were we looking for 3 days ago for 9:35 today? Until when? 11:15. Until when? 11:50. 12:20. Whee! Up at 1:15. Whee! 2:30, it didn't work. 4:20, it's still going. And I'm not afraid because those of you who don't believe me won't care about tomorrow. There it is. There they are. And it won't matter because no matter what you saw today, you won't believe it. Oil futures. Yesterday on the 3-minute chart for oil futures were the times we published. Let me get them on the chart here. Oil's been dropping. If you knew when to short and go long on oil today, how'd you do? How'd you do? Pretty good most of the time. All right, let's take a look at TradingView because there is another sheriff in town. Let's make sure we load that up. And yeah, so this is the E-mini S&P on a 1-minute time frame. And I want you to see that TradingView looks a little different, but it's a different platform. And so right here on the right-hand side, you see the next 5 trading signals. Daily on the 6E, hang on one second, John. Let me come back over. 6E. On the 6E daily, let's shoot up. When you use the daily signal for Warp, make sure you have 10 years worth of data loaded. 10 years worth of data loaded. John, I'm going to let that load up and come back to it. So over here, Damien, for Kronos, you'll see on the right-hand side, we have 1637, 1644, 1729, 1818, and then 1825. All of the signals over here were times that we were waiting for over here. So we were waiting for a move down at 353, a move down at 417, a move down at 324, and a move down at 307. I trade signals in the direction of the trend. So I'm in from 203 until 227. I was stopped out if I traded my system at 239. I'm in from 307 to 319. I'm in from 324 till 330. I'm in from 353 until 410. When you know the times in the future, there's a beginning and an end that you know in advance. You know these things in advance. These times never change, update, repaint. What about the news? What about the news? The news is a tool that institutions use to conflagrate what the truth is, to hide what they had planned. Let's go back and look at yesterday. The news is a tool that people use to conflagrate what they had planned. Let me reload the chart view. Man, it's not letting me go back in history. I'll try a 5-minute chart. Yeah, TradingView isn't letting me go back that far. I'm sorry. Let me load a 5-minute chart though. Maybe I can go back and look at yesterday. There we go. 9 o'clock. So yesterday, on a 5-minute time frame, we had a down signal at 6:45, an up signal at 7:30, a down signal at 9 o'clock, and an up signal at 11:45. Damien, can you see that? I'm going to show you a trick here that you can use also when we go look at the 6E on the daily. John, that signal is still up. We'll use the same signal here. We are up on this thing until April 7th. So there are 4 more days of movement. Once we violated the stop right here on the euro, once it punched through that line, we're now long until April 7th. So we're still in the hunt. On the weekly chart, before I forget to look at that, we should be seeing selling pressure here, and it's still climbing. The bottom was predicted to be the week of January 31st. And so based on the institutional patterns, I do expect to see some pushback here, especially at the EMA, and then another push up on the week of May 2nd. So cool. Okay, so Damien, check it out. There's a really cool technique that works in both TradingView and NinjaTrader versions of this method. And it has to do with the fact that time behaves like a wave pattern. So when you look at time, you'll notice on our charts that we go from a positive signal to a negative signal to a positive signal to a negative signal. Okay? Time signals on our charts are behaving like a wave. And so the longer we studied time, the more we noticed that it's behaving like a wave pattern. Hang on, Omar. Now, when you study waves or music, I have a musical background. I also do ham radio, and I have a little bit of experience with wave patterns. And one of the things that I've noticed with the time signals, and this is a technique all you guys can use, is the following. Anytime there's a gap between a negative sell signal and a positive buy signal or vice versa. If you have a negative sell signal and a positive buy signal, you can split that space in between those signals into thirds. So Damien, if this is negative, the next split is positive, the next split is negative, and then the next split is positive. So across that gap, we're going negative, positive, negative, positive. We're able to split time signals into thirds. Let me show you what that looks like practically. Because on our chart for the ES, it looks like we could use it. At 11:45 and 3:40, time is extremely fractal because it's a natural element. We didn't invent time, it's not synthetic. So it has to be fractal like Fibonacci levels. Now check this out. If I grab 340 and I split the signal, you see where the red and green lines line up? Positive, negative, positive, negative. So when you guys run into this with Warp or with TradingView, I want you to draw splits, because the behaviors we're expecting, that 60 to 70% of the signals, they exist in between the signals, right? So all of the things, all of the patterns, all of the stops and targets and the entries and exits, all of those things apply as well to the splits between the signal. And sometimes I'll even go back and I'll type 1305. I'll come over here and I'll type 1420. And that's just it's a little hack sometimes when there's not enough signals in between two of the signals. Damien, did that make sense? Now, Omar, it does not project the levels that we're expecting it to go to. Not this version, no. It's telling us the time, direction, and duration. Time, direction, and duration. And as we can go out very easily from a 5-minute to a 1-hour chart, even out to a 4-hour chart, pardon me, we can see what the expectations are. Where are we? So right now, based on my assessment, when we broke this stop line at 8 o'clock last night, we were looking for shorts until 10 o'clock Tuesday morning on the 4-hour chart. But Omar, Damien, I can take my fibs. Whoops, forgive me. This guy. From the blue line now to the white line, you see where I drew those signals? And in between, I have this guy and this guy. So the bottom will probably come in, looks like 10 o'clock tonight. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. And to be able to see out into the future like that is kind of bananas. I think it's kind of bananas. It's especially cool for those of you that are buying Bitcoin, for example, and you're buying and selling Bitcoin on crypto. NinjaTrader recently acquired by Kraken. Look at the places the program was warning you to look for a rise in Bitcoin. Midnight, 4 o'clock, 8 a.m., midnight, this midnight signal, 4 o'clock, midnight is a big one, 12 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock yesterday morning. And so what's neat about it is when we're tracking institutional behavior pattern, we know when to get in and get out, get in and get out, get in, time to get out, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, loss, get in, get out, loss, get in, get out, loss, get in, woohoo, ding, gain. And so it's nice to know. One guy was looking at Doge. We were looking at Trump coin the other day. Doge, the guy that I showed last night, was supposed to go down from 12 o'clock on Wednesday until 4 p.m. on Saturday. And this isn't based on anything guru-y, it's just based on the prevailing time frame. And if I want to see the moves in between, I can draw the splits right here and see that right now is a good place to exit my short or look for maybe a short-term bounce up on Doge. Yep. Ideally, Damien, I want the signals to be close to one another. So when there's a large gap, like between 8 o'clock and midnight here, I can split them. And when I split them, look, when we have a large gap and I can split them, I had no idea this was going to be a thing, but now I can tell when to look for intermediate moves. And so I'll show you what my fib setting is set to. When you come here and double click on it, I have a 0, a 1, a 0.33, and a 0.66. 0, 1, 0.33, and 0.66. 0 is red, 1 is green, 0.33 is dashed green, and 0.66 is dashed red. And when you do that, you get some really nice warnings about the intermediate signals or these harmonics that we were talking about earlier. Any questions about that? So Megan, we can find signals in between the signals. We can find signals in between signals. Like here's the MES. So between 3:23 and 3 o'clock, if the market's trending down and I want to see another entry, Megan, my entry could be right here. That's a place a down move is likely to last or start. And so when I find those big gaps, this was the MES this morning in our live room, I can take any two signals and split them into thirds. Yeah, one more time on TradingView for sure. I know this is a little weird, but it's a cool technique anyway. I think it's a cool technique. Let's go to a 1 hour chart on gold. Meow. Meow. Perfect. Let me get rid of these drawings. So Megan, between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., I can come here to the blue line, click, let go, come over to the white line, click, let go. I can go between 2300 and 6 o'clock and see the intermediate moves. And then all I'm doing is I'm putting arrows on it to remind me what I'm expecting when I get to those times. Yeah, cool. So when you use your Fibonacci, the tool that I'm modifying is the Fib time zone. Fib, Frank India Baker time zone. And the first time it's not going to look like this, but draw it out anyway with whatever levels they give you default. I forget what they were. And then double click on the anchor line, change it to this, and it should stay that way forever. It's a neat technique. Any questions about TradingView, Kronos, or Warp for NinjaTrader? Or are we okay? We can look at any one of these markets that we had available to us. I have the NQ 1 minute, Euro dollar, pound dollar, Ethereum. And when we come back and apply this to any of the markets that we had the times and directions for in advance, we should have a pretty clear understanding of whether or not that information was useful to us, right? And so as we go backwards on the Euro US dollar, you get a clear sense. These were the signals we put out for the market, a clear sense of what was happening and when to expect the moves. NQ 1 minute chart, yeah, that's a good one to look at last before we leave here today. Let me get rid of the drawing tools. We'll go back to earlier this morning. And there we go. We were warned to look for a move. I'll draw the ones that worked out, and then the ones that didn't, you'll sort of let sit on their own. 827 did not work out. 836, 859, 912, 931, 932, the market's open, 949, 1002, 1011, 1020, 1028, 1036, another drowning victim, and down at 1045. I'm usually done by 11 o'clock. Okay. So for me, I have a 1.5 average true range stop. So at 7:15, this gap is the average size of a 1 minute bar plus 50% more away. I go short on the close of the candle right here. So this is my entry. My stop goes right here when I'm trading trend signals. And now I have a choice. If this is my risk, I'm trying to get 200% of my risk before I get to the next signal at 7:31. So the way I trade it in the live class, my stop is here. When it goes to 100% of my risk, I move my stop to break even. When it gets to 150% of my risk, right here, I lock in 100% of my risk's worth of profit. And Omar, it took me out right there. At 6:36, I would enter short. At the close of the candle, it moves up into my stop, and now I have to exit by 6:52. Here I would be exiting by there. At 6:06, I enter at the close of the candle. I have to be out by 6:23. At 7:53, you see how the signals all cloister together? Somebody said, I'd love to know when it's going to be choppy. When you have signals all mixed up together like that, that's an area that I don't touch because it's chop. There's actually an indicator feature in NinjaTrader that lets me put the chop zones on. Okay, and that's all I'm looking for, are signals in the direction of the trend. So up to and including this afternoon, I'm short at 323. Close of the candle, I have to be out by 346. I'm short at 407, I have to be out by 423. I'm short at 430, I have to hit my stop, and now I give back $24. I'm short at 451, I'm basically break even right now. Any questions about that? Yeah, Megan? Yeah. Come hang out with me in the trading room too. I might have some ideas. What market do you trade? What's your favorite index? US 30? What NinjaTrader? Is that a TradingView or a NinjaTrader? I'm not familiar with US 30. Pardon my ignorance. TradingView. All right, let's go over there. US 30. Oh, okay. So the YM. Let's go down to a 5-minute time frame. What size bar do you usually trade? I got you. Why don't I have signals for this? Let's lower this to a 5. So I lowered my amplitude to about half. I still don't have any signals. It doesn't like it. You shouldn't trade it because I don't have signals. Let me take a look at this. I'll figure out what's going on because I have signals for other markets, right? No, I think we just overwhelmed the server for some reason. There we go. Yeah, I still get signals. All right, let me take a look at that. We'll take a peek. Let me let these knuckleheads go. On the 4-hour, you want to lower your amplitude. On the 4-hour, try coming in here to your tool and lower your amplitude until go from like 8 to 7 to 6 to 5. That might be what we need. Yeah, so see right there how I low, that's the 5-minute. You said 4-hour. You've been here 4 hours. You need to eat more vegetable. Let's try. You threw me a curveball, Megan. I like that. Let's go to a 3. Okay, so for a 3, we have more signals. Wow, look how weird it looks. Let's use that technique we just talked about. All right. Let me come up to a 2 hour. Okay, so it gets better on the 2 hour. Yeah, all right, so I got more to work with on the 2 hour. That's cool. That might be something we have to look at. And then Megan, take splits of your splits when you have less signals, and that can help us fill in those gaps. So right now on the 2 hour, I have the amplitude set to 3, and then draw splits and then splits of your splits. Does that make sense? That might be a way to get around those vacuous holes. Okay. If you want the version for Kronos, I'm going to paste a link into your chat box. On our website, it's the second one down, and that tool is available for $249 a month. So if you'd like that, Damien, I'm going to paste it into your chat box. How do I get to the chat box? There it is. And so when you're doing that, you'll be able to load these signals on the chart and plug in whatever market that you're looking at, get your signals, and now you're off to the races. Gold on a 4-hour chart, gold on a 5-minute chart, oil, E-mini S&P, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Euro, US dollar, and we'll be able to see those signals coming up in the future, E-mini S&P and so on. So $249 a month, go ahead, click there. If you don't want it after 30 days, just cancel. The link to the Skype group is right here, Megan. I'll get it for you. We do have a Skype group that's moving over to Discord right here. We have a customer who liked our program so much, Ken, the other day, there's Ken. It's a weird picture of Ken, actually. Oh, he's in Las Vegas. Ken got our company initials on his license plate. So Ken, if you're here, you're really weird, dude. I'm honored, but it's like one step short of a tattoo. He really likes our stuff. And so when you buy the software, you're part of a group, and Ken likes to post his entries and show people where he's getting in and out. And you can talk to customers that are successful in using the tool in that group. Skype is going away, so it's moving over to Discord here shortly. The other program is TachEon Warp for NinjaTrader. That program is a lifetime license right now. And so I'll put the link to TachEon Warp in the chat box just so you have it on the web page. It's TachEon Warp. And then all the way down, you're going to see a box that says get it. It's $29.95, but there's a promo code that's still active. Let's remove this one. If you apply promo code W lowercase WARPOFF, WARPOFF, and then hit apply, it'll take $500 off the price. So Warp is a lifetime license for NinjaTrader, and if you're using TradingView, we're trying to break into that community and really service the traders over there. And so it's $249 a month for that, and it is $24.95 forever for that. as well. Any questions before we start to wrap up here today? I've had a unusual day today, and so I apologize if we moved through things quickly. In summation, it is possible to know in the future when the moves we're expecting from the bank are likely to kick in. Some of those moves are going to behave weird, but with the rules we developed 8 years ago, you can know when those reversal moves are coming. We have the times all ready for tomorrow, for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday of next week. Those times don't change, they don't disappear, they don't reappear. It's possible to know before the moves occur what these knuckleheads are likely to do. They have a plan. If you think anything that's happening right now is just one guy making a decision in a room by himself, I would suggest you rethink that. The most powerful people in the world are the people we never see on Fox Business News. We don't see the board of BlackRock. We don't see Vanguard represented. We don't see oligarchs and crown princes and the people who are quite possibly trillionaires in our lifetime. And the things that are happening in the world right now, there was a binder, I guarantee you, a 3-ring binder with laminated talking points and sheets and plans, and none of this stuff is rolling off of one person's head. I'm old enough now to know that that's a naive thought. There's nothing random that's happening. This is a scheduled forest fire. In Boy Scouts, we learned about the Forest Service would go in and burn out the undergrowth of some of the national parks on purpose. And that's what we're seeing right now. And so if you want to be ready, if you want to be sitting there right before these moves occur, you want to have some sense of when the time bomb is going to go off, give it a shot. 30 days for Kronos is $250. You can get that back in one trade. A lifetime of software based off of people who've gone before you. We have a near perfect rating with Trustpilot. Anyone who could write anything most of the time wants you to know that they were sitting where you sat and bought what you're looking at, and it's okay. These are all people with credit card receipts that actually bought the program before you got here. Good, that's a good book to review. Completely different than anything you've seen. Enjoy the journey. Stop looking and settling for indicators that don't work, that are lagging. Excellent software. This is an amazing system. These tools were the missing piece for me. That's all I want to say about that. I really believe this last quote. I want to leave you with this, and then we'll do the benediction and close up here. You win battles by knowing the enemy's timing and using a timing that the enemy doesn't expect. The banks don't expect you to believe me. The banks want you to ignore all of the signals that we've been waiting 3 days for, that you saw for yourself what happened. The banks want you to ignore the hundreds of Trustpilot reviews of people who went before you and did this. They want you to think about all the money you spent on the garbage they love that you use and say, well, I said I wasn't going to do it again. And there's a few of you here today where everything lined up. You saw an ad, that you shouldn't have seen. Somebody told you something about us haphazardly. You watched a YouTube video, somehow you ended up on it, and here you are. A divine appointment, and you have a choice to make. Tomorrow when you wake up, do you want to have a reasonable understanding of what's likely to happen? Be ready, take the trade, walk away. Know how long to stay in it if you can, and then close it up. Or do you want to keep doing what you're doing? Sit there, tick by tick, bar by bar, watch your crazy signals, your ICT, elemental P, ABC setups, looking at Elliott waves and monster waves, and it's exhausting. I did it. I did all the things. I looked at all the things and I said, I'm going to make my own thing and figure out how this thing really works. And the reality is, there's a few people, most of them have white hair. They're in an office telling some algorithm developer to make the markets go up and down the next day at certain times. They're all in on it. They're all in on it. And so if you want to be surprised and you like the adrenaline and you want to pull that slot machine arm a couple times and woo, ding, 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 I got nothing for you. If you want to trade professionally, responsibly, you want to be bored, maybe make more money than you lose, there's a place for you here in our house. Thank you for your time today. I love all of you that have supported us and are still here. Please continue to come. I continue to drop truth bombs and little knowledge nuggets on you. You encourage me when you come on Thursdays. For those of you getting ready to purchase, Kronos $249, Warp $24.95. What are you waiting for? May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine upon your handsome, beautiful, radiant faces. May the valleys rise up to meet you on your journey, and may the mountains lay low before you as you go. I wish all of the things you want for yourself, for you. I agree with you. I vibrate in that frequency with you now. The travels you want to take, the bills you want to pay, the things you want to do for your community, the inheritances you want to leave for your children, the communities you want to make a difference in, all of those things, the toys that you want. I agree with you for the jet ski, for the Ferrari, whatever it is. Why not? Let's work together towards that end. I believe it for you, and I know you can do it. I believe in you. I love you guys. Have a great night. Welcome to our new a new family. How can we get the 30 days trial? Sebastian, you can watch this webpage. It reviews every week. So Sebastian, you can get the TradingView version for $249. Are you NinjaTrader or TradingView, Sebastian? Yep, so that page reviews every week, the 2 days for Wednesday and Thursday. Those are Eastern time, and you can watch that for a month, no problem. Sebastian, there's also one other option for you. And I'll have Dave get in touch with you for that. So let me copy your email address and just shoot my associate a note here real quick. Yeah, absolutely. Now, the 30-day trial is just looking at those free times Wednesday and Thursday each week for a month. But Dave's going to reach you for something else that we can do for you too. So Dave, that's when you get an email from him. Yeah, it's like a report. So you'll see those times in advance each week. Earl, you are still on the trial period, yes. You are still on the trial period. Yes. Oh God. I want to be on a trial period. Can I be on a trial period? Ah. Yeah. All right, guys. You are the joy of my life. You're still alive and kicking. And I love that about you. Everybody stay alive, please. Nobody die between now and next week. I need you all alive for 7 days. So no caffeine, eat your vegetables, take a walk around the condo. It means a lot to me. Many of you have known you for years, and I consider you family. So please take care of yourselves. Let's make a lot of money, keep making a lot of money together, and spread the gospel of time. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye now.